It's the Joel Shit Show, featuring Joel Shit. Hi, welcome to the Joel Shit Show. I'm your host, Joel Shit. So yesterday, I watched the 49er game, and when the 49ers got a bullshit pass interference call, and ended up scoring a touchdown to make it 7-0, and then they blocked a punt, made it 14-0, I said, oh, this could be just what the team needs to turn things around. They're still only 2 games out of first place. It's too early to give up on them. And then the rest of the game was played. And you could tell by the middle of the second quarter that the 49ers were never going to score again. So you had to figure, well, the defense should be okay. They don't have to give up 14 points to the Falcons, and they pretty much didn't. Then with a couple of minutes left, they punt, and the Falcons get the ball, and it's like, well, they're marching down the field, but They've got to keep them out of field goal range. And then Matt Ryan throws an interception. All right. Screws up my fantasy team, but at least the 49ers are going to win. And there goes Nate Clements. And I was just making fun of Nate Clements a couple of days ago, remember, on Saturday's episode. I was making fun of Nate Clements because he's from Ohio State, and he was the only guy that we could get, or that they could get at that Angels on Stage fundraiser to autograph a helmet. All they could get was Nate Clements, and guess what? He's running with the ball, and the ball's back here, and what happens? Roddy White does the same thing he did last year to the 49ers. He punches the ball loose, and the Falcons recover. But, ball's inside the 20, there's a minute 30 left, they still have to kick a field goal. The defense just has to go back out there, and just didn't work out. So they kick a field goal with 2 seconds left, and then the 49ers, because their quarterback is Alex Smith, did not down the kickoff. They decided to try to run it back. And they gave it a good effort, but it's hard, because it's not something you practice a lot, because it just doesn't happen very often. So it didn't work out. So, at any rate, 49ers lost. They're 0-4. They're going to be a very hard team to watch. I don't think that a new offensive coordinator is going to change much because it's the same players. And so be happy they scored 14 points, even though 7 was on a turnover and the other 7 was on a bad call. So really, you can't say they got shut out, but, their offense is not as good as it looks on paper. And it doesn't look good on paper. So 1/4 of the way in, and the best the 49ers can do is finish 12-4. That's the optimist way. I'm wondering whether they're going to get those wins. They do get to play the Cardinals twice, so there's a couple of chances for some wins there. And when the Rams come to town, God, if they lose to the Rams at home, whew. But yeah, Rams are going to win that division. Just telling you right now. So let's see. I was spared the Raider game because it was blacked out. So instead we had the Colts and the Jaguars. Now that was a hell of a game. And the Jaguars clearly should have lost. They were clearly outplayed. But Indianapolis made key turnovers, and that's why people like football. You can tell which team is better, but it doesn't mean that they win. And 59-yard field goal to win the game, that's, when you're dependent on that kind of shit, well, just be glad when you get the wins. But, good for Jack Del Rio, Still one of those guys that wears a suit sometimes. Just like Mike Nolan, except Mike Nolan's not around anymore. So he probably keeps his job at least till the end of the year because he beat the Colts. And the only field goal of the game. If you had Josh Scobie in your fantasy league, you got 9 points if you count extra points for long field goals. So, always nice to see Peyton Manning lose. And then it turns out the Raiders lost as well. And they made it close at the end, but they were down 31-10 or 31-17 or something ridiculous before they made it 31-24. So, same old Raiders. But it's kind of hard to talk shit about the Raiders, and the 49ers are 0-4. But at least the Raiders are 1-3, so combined 1-7, yes. It's going to be that kind of year. It's been that kind of year. But at least the Giants won. So we have a baseball team locally in the playoff hunt for the first time in 7 years, I think. Because the A's made the playoffs in 2006. So it's the first time in 4 years that a local baseball team is in the playoffs. That's the Giants. So let's go Giants. Rooting for the Twins. First choice is the Twins. If the Twins-Giants World Series, that would be pretty sweet, I have to say. But, yeah, Brian Wilson got the save, and Jonathan Sanchez hit a stand-up triple, but it's because the outfield is playing in, and you don't do that Come on, San Diego, you know better than that. But I don't know. Both teams are pretty boring, and there's just not a lot of good teams in the National League. Who would you have rather seen in the playoffs than the Giants? I mean, the Padres are boring, and none of the other teams are really in contention. Colorado single-handedly took themselves out of the race. I don't understand what happened. How does Ubaldo Jimenez not win 20 games? He had like 17 wins by the end of April. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And then now, 19-8. He had a good season. I'm not saying he didn't, but come on. And the Astros, well, maybe next year. But, I'm ready for baseball. 6 more months. Opening day. I'm ready. Let's see. What was the night of the Bears and the Giants? I actually had a pretty good chance in my money league to do well, fantasy football league. But that's right. Jay Cutler, 9 sacks in the first half, the last of which giving him a concussion. And then Todd Collins goes and doesn't get sacked, but he throws a pick, and then he leaves the game. And then this guy, Caleb Haney or whatever, 3 of 4, 109 quarterback rating. There's your future, Chicago. Caleb Haney should start next week. In the meantime, I will be using Donovan McNabb because Cutler, I don't think is, I got some good fantasy appearances out of Cutler this year. I should have started McNabb this week because I knew the forecast was going to be for rain, and I knew it was going to be against the Giants. It was going to be on national TV. But hindsight is 20/20, so oh well. And I went to the KFC music meeting and got another 7 CDs to review, and I turned 4 in, so I'm even farther behind. I do that, but it's okay. And I reviewed a bunch of CDs. They're on joelshitshow.com. You can read about them. They're not as standardized as a lot of my reviews. Most of my reviews are about 200, 250 words. These are anywhere from like 50 words to like 600 words. I just didn't have time to standardize them because I wanted to get as many written as possible. And KFCU music meeting is weird now. For the first time in 2 years, I can go to a music meeting with the music team, and it's great, except none of the people on the music team before are there now, and it's all these other people. It's like, who the hell are you guys? And so I'm like looking at CDs going, these people aren't doing anything right, because the way you learn how to do something, you automatically think is the only way to do it. So when other people start doing things other ways, you're like automatically, oh, that's wrong, because that's not the way that I know it. But that's life. It's ever evolving. Let's see. Season premiere of American Dad was okay. There was a Rush Limbaugh Family Guy, which was okay. They got Rush Limbaugh to do it, so, a lot of respect for it. And I was really impressed, actually, by Seth MacFarlane, because he was rather apolitical on this episode. I mean, you know what Seth MacFarlane is politically, but he actually gave the other side a fair shake, and he brought up a lot of points. He knows he can make fun of anybody, and he knows it. So he makes fun of the fact that most liberals do not actually read what Rush Limbaugh writes. They just read about what someone else wrote about Rush Limbaugh. So I thought that was very clever. Episode itself was alright. Cleveland show, just stupid concept, stupid episode, but it's about what I expect. The Simpsons had its clever moments, but yes, Sunday night just ain't what it used to be. But luckily, 7 and 7:30 were reruns of Frasier locally, and so I used that hour to, I don't know what I did, but I didn't watch TV. No, I watched football. I did watch TV. I got to watch more of that exciting Bears and Giants game. Oh, what a wonderful time that was. Whew. Good day betting on the football. I won 11.5 units pending last night's game. I haven't checked, but the point is it was a good day. I'll be getting an envelope in the mail. And this number here is going to continue to go down. I have won almost 20 units in the past 3 months. So, sometimes you feel like you can't do anything right when you bet sports. Sometimes you feel like you can't do anything wrong. The bell curve is now on the other side, and soon it will swing back. That's all the time we have today. Visit us on the web at joelshitshow.com. Email joel@joelshitshow.com.